Because there is sugar in here. So what happens is there's a starter in there, and it's when I dump most of this out, I keep a little bit of this, and I add in more water and more flour, and it starts bubbling, and it rises up, and then when it's eaten everything, it starts falling down. And the next day I feed it again, so it gets active. Mm-hmm. And then I don't want to feed it every day. Exactly. So I put it in the fridge, and it just relaxes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Instead of having to throw flour away every day.
When Tim was diagnosed with cancer in June of 2022, he really became my teacher in what it looks like to thrive in the midst of hard times. He would be going through immense treatments, and he'd still manage to smile. He'd still manage to find something to look forward to and some reason to pull through another treatment. 2 weeks before Timmy died, he and I mapped out a journey that was a trip that he wanted me to take the girls on. What you see in the video here is exactly that. So I just wanted to share some snippets with you and invite you to take this journey with us into the heart of Italian cooking and all the things that make food that comes onto your table when you're eating a tasty Italian meal. It's just the people, the places, the passion that makes that food what it is. So I hope that you enjoy this journey. It's a journey from the north to the south of an incredible country amidst a whole lot of incredible people. This was one heck of an adventure, and the girls and I just were filled with life and laughter and love and, you know, some arguing here and there, but mostly life, laughter, and love.
That's real. Yeah.
What was really cool about the Cinque Terre and the hiking around there was the steps built into the side of the hills that are built and designed to prevent soil erosion. With the climate getting drier and drier, and then when a deluge of rain comes, it can wash away a hillside. So they built these steps without mortar, which allows water to kind of soak in to the vegetation there, and there's just an incredibly rich amount of biodiversity. After the past 2 years of dealing with cancer and feeling like we were running uphill every step of the way, it was really nice to just sit and relax and be and walk around at our pace and have fun with each other. It was fun to just sit on the trains and look out the windows, wander through the towns and not really have any pressured place to be at any specific time. aside from meeting our hosts for the next location. What really impressed upon me about Italian cooking during this trip is that it's not anything like really special, but that's actually what makes it special, is that it's just a part of life. It's a part of everyday activity, and it weaves itself in and around all of the activities of life, including driving and visiting towns and worshiping in many of the beautiful local spiritual locations. We were fortunate to be able to have a few cooking lessons with Michele Becchi, and we were fortunate to be able to tour the vicinity at the recommendation of the Becchi family and others in the area, drink the local wines, and just enjoy the local sights. Although I was terrified, I have to say that driving turned out to be one of the unexpected highlights of the whole trip. Tim's first trip over to Italy to study cooking was in the Tuscany region, and he spent time with Roberto Becchi and got to explore a lot about Italian cooking and farming in the region of Tuscany. And this was one of the regions that the girls and I spent a little over a weekend. And, you know, it was super fun, but it was also super educational just to see the incredible amount of biodiversity. Farmers really do a lot to, I guess maybe, I don't know if it's do a lot or not do a lot, to, they don't use a lot of the same chemicals that we use here in the United States. The girls were even surprised to notice that their bodies were able to digest food more easily than sometimes here in the U.S. And here we are in a stopover to Florence on our way to Sicily. I won't go into detail about all of the things that we saw during our short stay in Florence and how incredible it was, but suffice it to say it warrants a much longer stay than 2 days. At the start of our third week in Italy, we boarded a plane for Sicily to visit the town of Valedolmo and visit the school called Cook the Farm, where Timmy spent about 3 months back in 2017. Valedolmo is a community that is on the western side of Sicily, about an hour and a half south of Palermo. It's a town of about 3,000 people, and it's a very spiritual village. Most of the people who live there have, been parts of families who've been there for generations and generations. It's hard for me to describe how incredible my visit was to this town and to the farm where Tim spent 3 months, and to bring the girls there. They were much younger when Tim went to school there. We had just moved to Milwaukee, and shortly after our move to Milwaukee, he learned about this school and their 10-week-long program And he applied to the school and got a scholarship that paid for the travel expenses. So considering what we wanted to do with our farm, it was sort of a no-brainer to attend the school, provided he got the scholarship. The girls and I got to meet Fabrizia Lanza, who runs the program, and we got to tour the grounds and have lunch with people who are currently attending a cooking program there. These grounds are incredibly beautiful. Anna Tesca Lanza was her mother, and there are just tons and tons of vineyards that are, I think, were initially planted by her or by people that she had worked with or hired. That's all rosemary. Just an incredible, rich amount of life. You know, this program just inspired Tim, and he really wanted to recreate something similar to it here in the United States, just north of Milwaukee, so that people who were looking to have an authentic Italian dining experience and kind of farm-to-table experience could have that here in Wisconsin without having to travel abroad for it. Being here at Cook the Farm was a pretty emotional experience for the girls and I. We got to meet people that he hung out with, his host family, his host sister, and that was just like such an incredible experience. Inspired by some of her own experiences with Cook the Farm, Rosella, who lives in the town of Valedolmo, decided to pursue funding from the European Union for the creation of a local agritourism restaurant at the edge of the town of Valedolmo. And it's surrounded by a plot of farmland that her father helps to farm. And the girls really got to spend some nice time with her and learned a lot about their dad through conversations with her.
The guy who really created a farm after that course, because people were coming in here just to be curious and explore Sicily, but he was determined to create a farm. So he spent a lot of energy, because keeping animals is really difficult. There's a lot of work. But I remember he was really into bread. Making bread. So every time people asked, what are you going to do with this course? And I said, I really want to create a farm for my family. I mean, I want to teach them also what I've learned. So he was the guy who really accomplished that.
This is the inside of Rosella's restaurant. She's worked with local artisans to do some of the artwork on the tiles that are inside the bathroom and the kitchen. On our way to Mount Etna, we visited Cefalù by the seaside. And this was one of Tim's favorite towns in Sicily, and it was truly a beautiful place to be. Next up was a drive along the northern coast of Sicily towards Mount Etna, through a series of tunnels that went underneath the landscape. I don't know if it's by design, I'm guessing so, but these tunnels allowed for the vegetation above to remain intact, which was pretty incredible. The biodiversity of the foothills of Mount Etna reminded me a lot of the biodiversity that exists at the foothills of the Andes Mountains, and also of the Cascade Mountain Range in the Pacific Northwest. What was really cool to see is in and around the vineyards, they don't mow, and so it allows for this diverse habitat to remain intact. And it's really cool to see the landscape the changes in the landscape that occurs as you head up the mountain towards the active volcano of Mount Etna. I'm not sure that I've experienced anything quite like this active volcano before. It was just like experiencing the earth, the mountain, breathing. To see the steam coming out from this active volcano that was just beneath the surface. The last lava flow was in December of 2023. So we got to touch the rock and the hard lava that was just fresh from a short time ago. That's the road that we took to get up here.
Respect.
After departing Sicily, we headed back to the mainland of Italy and to Rome. I was really impressed to see the landscape from the air and to see just kind of what the farmlands look like as you drop down closer and closer to the area of Rome. Manuela was our tour guide in Rome, and she was a friend of Tim's that he got to meet on his first trip over to Italy. She really showed us all of the sights and sounds and tastes of Rome, and was just a super fun tour guide for our girls and for me. Having grown up Catholic, it was a really interesting experience to just stand in the middle of Vatican City and turn and look at all of the people from all over the world there to worship and take in the sights and sounds and the spirituality that has been anchored in that city for so long. I saw people from all over and all walks of faith. That juxtaposed with the countryside that we had spent a lot of time immersed in was just a really interesting experience. I felt my mind wanting to go to this place of judgment and criticism and assessment of some of the things that I was seeing, and just got this internal nudge just to kind of pull back from that and just watch and appreciate, and so that's what I did. While our girls loved Italy as a whole, they adored Rome and said it was their favorite city. And that was a really fun note to end the trip on. That actually took me a bit by surprise. But they said that it was because there were just people from so many places all coming together in this one place to experience this incredible city. This trip was just so moving, and I'm so grateful that we got to take it and that we took it when we did. I love it. We felt Timmy with us every step of the way, and we got to return home to a place where we feel him probably like no other place on earth. I just want to close this video with an invitation to embrace the life that you've been gifted to live and to do the work that will help future generations have a chance to thrive and enjoy this beautiful planet.